perspectives that exist in Somalia on artificial intelligence and on management of elections and democratic governance. Welcome, Mr. Abdi.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank LJ for giving me this opportunity to actually attend and participate in this important conference, which is on time, on AI on elections. I would like to actually rectify you that Somalia was the first democratic country in Africa. In 1960, the first democratic president that was elected by the people in 1960, and after the collapse, the country has faced some challenges, and from 2000 to now, Somalia was able to conduct 5 elections with peaceful transfer. So I think, considering the neighboring countries, Kenya can be the leading us, but we are better off other countries in terms of peaceful transfer. You remember 2000, there was election which conducted, whatever way it was conducted, and also a president came, he conducted an elections, he was defeated, he handed over to another president. In 2012, another election was conducted. The president who conducted, who also defeated, he handed over peacefully to another president. And 2016, President Hassan conducted the elections. He was defeated. He handed over to Formaggio. Formaggio conducted 2022 the election, and also he was defeated. He handed over. So it's a peaceful transfer. And I'm coming back to Somalia, but let me comment it first. This AI is, I'm a former commissioner for Somalia and also a member of African Election Observer. I thank Robert Gareng when he was AU. He gave me an opportunity to participate different elections, and he was with us when we were conducting the election of Somalia, coming back now and then on behalf of AU, the Peace and Security Department. I thank him for his contribution during that time, and he was actually part of us. And in the elections, he was he actually helped us to support, to bring experts. One of them was a former commissioner, a chairman for Kenya, Hassan Isaac, another one from South Africa, another one from Nigeria, through AU, and through Robert Gareng, we were able to conduct that election very well, and we thank him for that. The integration of AI in the electoral process is potentially to improve the credibility and efficiency of election. However, it has some challenges. Africans are trying to make an effort to develop an AI framework which is aligned with the international standard to improve the elections and the betterment of the governance. However, I join my colleagues that there is a challenge on the trust of the Electoral Commission. Yesterday, you remember that when the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka was talking here, he was talking about restructuring of IEBC. And if you go all countries in Africa, all of them are talking about the IEBC. I was in Nigeria with Robert. So in AI, in the first part, the positive part is that before the election, data management for security, for efficiency, accuracy, and also engagement, that one, it do it well. But when it comes to the practical part, this is where the challenge of misinformation, malpractice, and the reason behind that, every leader in Africa would like to determine the result before the election. So therefore, he looked for commissions who he has a favorite actually, and that's the challenge that most politicians that have the challenge, and manipulation of that AI. That's where it come from. So why the democratic process space in Southern Africa has a challenge is the leaders who are in office. And remember, Kenya had started complaining about the election commissions. There's a lot of challenge taking place. Somalia, what happened is that, let me come back to Somalia now. The better part of the II that we have done is that Somalia is also improving in line with the international standard on the II improvement. We were able to conduct direct election to some states in Somalia. One of them was Puntland. There were almost 11 political parties who were contesting actually, with 33 districts. That was the district council election. The election took place one day. The sitting political party was defeated, and the election was done through voter registration and through eye verification. So there was no complaint. So many ladies, I remember two brothers from same father, from same mother, came from different political parties and they became an MPs. I remember a lady defeated her dad. They competed. She was a different political party, but she defeated him. So that's the better part. Recently, Somalia, which is part of Somalia, also conducted an election through eye verification. And the election, there was no challenge. There was no problem. There was no challenge. But when you come to the bigger part, currently the country of Somalia is facing challenge because of election at the federal government, at the federal level. When the 2012 draft constitution of Somalia was passed, when the president Hassan Sheikh Mohamud then came to the president, when he came to the office, he constituted the Independent Electoral Commission, which were trained and prepared well. But due to the challenge the country is having in terms of insecurity, the Somalia is now federal government with the federal member states who are also stakeholders. So they saw that these commissions are favoring for the president. So the federal member state president boycotted actually for the election processes. Now, with the support of the international partners, the president was pushed to put aside the constitutionally independent election body and actually to bring a indirect election body that is inclusive. Inclusive, I mean that also the federal member states have our representatives. So some from the federal member states and the federal government will form the National and Indirect Election Commission. The election was conducted, and unfortunately the sitting president was defeated. So Somalia is whereby the president can enter this room while he's the president, the next one day he can walk out. He is not the president. So now it's the member of the parliament who vote for the president. And that one, 2012, the members of parliament were appointed by the traditional leaders from clans. It's based on 4.5 system. In 2016, we say that let's move to 51 delegates from each clan. 51 delegates will elect the member of the parliament, and then the member of parliament will elect the president. 2020, the president Formaggio tried to continue the Independent Election Commission, but also the federal member state boycotted, and they say that still they see the indirect because they will have influence at the ground level. So what happened is that he went indirect elections. I work with the former commissions, and also I work with the indirect election commissions. I was among the commissions that were appointed to conduct the last election, which was actually one of the challenging elections because you don't follow the constitution and the framework, but you must bring all the stakeholders on the table for you to move. So each one of them, sitting with them and convincing them will be a challenge. Now, then 551 was raised to 101 delegate. So the member of parliament, instead of 51, 101 delegates were supposed to elect the member of parliament, and the member of parliament will elect the president. That is 275 MPs plus 54 Senate will form 329 MPs. When President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud came to office in 2023, they say that we must upheld the universal suffrage, whereby one person, one vote is for my term as a legacy. That's what I want. But in the discussion of the processes, you know, this I still federal member state president, and also they have to be elected. And I say that in Africa, the challenge we have, the sitting president want to determine the result before the election. So he will work on calculation 1 + 1 = 2. So he will not do a mathematics that is not assured of the answer. So in these processes, the Puntland, one of the federal member state president, boycotted and left the meeting. Then the president remained with some federal member state president. Last month, Jubilant president also boycotted and walked out. And he conducted his indirect elections, and then the election of the third term take place in Jubilant. Then the president of the federal government of Somalia wanted to pursue with one person, one vote. And also the political parties are against it. So elections, and what all these people is the challenge is around is that the challenge is about the election management bodies. The trust is not this AI, intelligence or technology. The trust should come from the government and the people, and the people who are also the management bodies who are in the election, but they must be people who look like, who also be trusted by all people to see them. They can be trusted by all. So the challenge surrounding is about that. Coming back to my recommendation on AI is that there is a gap, and to improve that gaps, I join the previous team that civic education should be done. Civic education should be done, and as said by Aisha, the election campaign should not start before the election. It should be start after the election. Immediately, the campaign and civic education about this should be started. Second is that it should be added into the curriculum from the primary level, so that the people from the teenage age, they can understand about the AI, so that they can use it, and as they grow with this technology and knowledge. And thirdly is that as Africans, we have to look ourselves, and actually we must work on the trust building among ourselves, and more discussion about the governance and the institutional restructure, so that we can create trust among ourselves. And the leaders who are also sitting on this, you should not think about today, they should focus on the future generation of the youth. What will be how will my son and my daughter will look like? What impact will I have, him or her, sitting here on this throne, so that what you do today will have a positive impact to your people or negative impact to your people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Abdi.